Hey all, it's me, Hack, and in this video I will talk about how we can exploit a quote unquote a feature in GCP Cloud Build to escalate our privileges in GCP. So let's get started, shall we? Now I will jump back to my main screen. Already, we are into a slide now. Who am I? So I'm Ayush. I go by the name Hack on the Internet, currently in final year of high school. I have strong passion for cybersecurity. I also have a part-time gig as a cloud security part-time gig where I do like cloud security related research work and make cloud security related lab. I also work another place, another part-time gig where I do Pinterest related things, and I also have several certifications, right? Mainly things like Hack the Box CPTS, Hack the Box CBBH, Pentest Plus, and EJPT, right? So I know some things, right? I'm not a script. So let's jump into the main video itself. So, but before that, the structure of this video will be like I will start with basic thing, like a very high level overview, like what cloud build is. I will not get into deeper like how you can go and create cloud build. I expect you to know like cloud build at a very high level, right? And I also expect you to know like how you can create a trigger in cloud build and how you can deploy an application using cloud build, right? So yeah, I need you to know some things about cloud build. So what is cloud build? So Google Cloud Build is continuous integration and delivery service provided by Google or GCP, right? It allows you to build, test, and deploy application quickly at scale. With um, with Cloud Build, you can run builds on variety of environment, including VM, serverless environments, and Kubernetes. So basically, you have a code, right? Could be Python, could be JavaScript, no, could be any language, right? PHP, whatever, right? You have a code, right? Using Cloud Build, you can build it and you can automatically deploy it to like several GCP services like Compute Engine, App Engine, Cloud Run, Kubernetes Engine, anything which you can think of, right? So this is a very high level overview of cloud build, and one more critical thing to know about cloud build is that there's a specific file called cloudbuild.yaml file which has all the instruction needed to create a build. So let's say we want to create a build which will create a Docker image and will push to artifact registry. So we will have a instruction like step one, uh, make a Docker image, tag x, right, tag it. Then another step will be like push it to artifact registry. It will be something like that. So cloud build.yaml file is one of the critical component in cloud build. So that will basically define how you use that basically has all the instruction needed to make cloud build work or run, right? Now we will jump into the more hacking part or theory part of it, and I will jump into the practical later on. But before that, this is a very high level overview like how cloud build works. So like over here we have a developer, and this is our source repo or git repo, right? So our developer makes a a developer pushes a code in source repo, right? It could be GitHub, Bitbucket, any Git repo of your choice, and this specific service or source repo is connected to Cloud Build, right? So once the whole like code is pushed, it will trigger Cloud Build. And let's say over here we have a Python application which runs a Flask server, right? And it is designed to run on App Engine or Kubernetes engine. So it will have all the necessary steps, and our cloud build will take all the necessary steps from CSR, which will have cloudbuild.yaml file, and it will deploy the service, right? So in our case, CSR, like over here, like Git repo has cloudbuild.yaml file, which has instructions to deploy the program on Kubernetes engine and make a Docker image and push it to artifact registry. So it will do that, right? So it's as simple as that. I don't know if my explanation was clear or not, but Hey guys, I'm just trying, right? So this is the theory part, the fun part, right? So this is the theory part of our attack. We will go through this. We will go through the entire thing, right? Um, but before that, let's try to understand uh, the attack in a theory, right? And how I found it and all that stuff, you know. So so the place where I work, I was doing some security research work, and I was working on a project. I can't name it, but during that, I was supposed to deploy several applications using cloudbuild securely, right? And me being me, a hacker, I came up with a plan like, what if I have a user, right, and I want to escalate permission in GCP? How can I do that, right? So that was the story, right? And me being me, a dumb kid, um, I was able to find a security vulnerability. Not really a vulnerability. Google said that it's more like a feature, not a bug. So I will call it feature, right? So um, but that time I had no idea, right? I was all hyped up because I thought I found the bug in Google Cloud, right? So I went in and reported it to Google, and Google was like, "Hey, this is intended feature. Um, this is not a bug. This is intended feature." I was like, that's kind of sucks." But and during that time, I was thinking, okay, so I'm the only one who found this, right? No, I was absolutely wrong. They are like much more talented people, right? More than me. They are more talented than me. So there were people who found the specific vulnerability, not exactly the same way how I'm gonna do, but something similar, right? So there was a blog post from Orca Security, which I found after making a report to Google Security. And then later on, I also found a blog post from Rhino Security, which I believe are like an awesome company which does a lot of cloud security related research work. So I found something similar method in Rhino Security blog post, and there was one in Orca Security. So I will make sure to attach a screenshot during my editing phase. Right? If I don't, I apologize, right? But yeah, let's jump into the whole attack itself, right? So over here we have a developer. So let's try to understand the attack scenario now. So in our case, let's say we are in GCP, or we were able to get a shell or some level of user, right? A user who has access to a source repo, or more like a write privileges to a source repo, and it's connected to cloud build, right? So in our scenario, like, we can get a user maybe through phishing, exploiting like various misconfiguration in GCP, right? um we get a user who has write access to a source repo. We don't we All we need is a user with write access to source repo, and that source repo is connected to cloud build. That's all we need, right? In our case, we have a user. The only privilege he has is write permission to a source repo, no other permission in Google Cloud, right? So let's say we were able to get his credentials or tokens, right? We can push our malicious uh, code into this like specific source repo. So if you remember, I was talking about cloudbuild.yaml file, right? So we can inject our own malicious cloudbuild.yaml file, right? And that will trigger cloud build, right? And in our malicious cloud build.yaml file, we can attach a code which will basically grab the service account token service account token of cloud build service account, right? I know it's kind of confusing, right? So cloud build over here has a service account attached to it. Usually it's higher, right? Usually the specific service account attached to cloud build has a lot of permission, so it can have a permission to deploy an application on app engine, Kubernetes, compute engine, a lot of permission, right? So over here we can steal the token, right? We can steal the token using we can steal the token of service account attached over here and send it to our webhook, right? Now let's assume that, or let's say that this specific service account uses a default um, role, which is cloud build service agent or service account role. I believe that service account contains a very dangerous permission called cloud build create. So this service account contains a permission which will let you to create another uh, cloud build trigger, right? So now what you can do is create another cloud build trigger, right? I know, again, I'm saying this, I know this will sound very confusing, but once we do the whole practical part, it will make sense, right? So um, we can create one more cloud build trigger, and let's say it's a big GCP environment and they have multiple cloud build or multiple service accounts related to cloud build. In our case, let's assume that this specific service account, the service the one which we have stolen the token, has permission like the default cloud build service account permission, right? Or cloud build builder role, which has permission to deploy or create an artifact registry, right? Let's assume that there are multiple IAM accounts or service accounts, right, with multiple IAM roles or policies attached to it, right? And one of the service account has a permission, one of the cloud build service account has a permission to either deploy an app engine, cloud run, any other permissions, right? So what we can do is we can use the token or the specific service account, create another cloud build trigger, right? Attach a higher privileged service account, right? Steal the token of it using the same method. Now let's say the second cloud build service account has permission um, to um, to deploy app engine, right? So now what we will do is we will use the stolen token of this another cloud build service account, and we will deploy an app engine without malicious code, right? Now what we can do is, as an attacker, we can attach any, literally like any service account in GCP to our app engine cloud run and steal its token and potentially become, or potentially we can get editor role in GCP. So we will do the exact same thing in the practical part now. So please bear with me, right? So let's jump into the more practical part, right? I don't know, like for some reason, like my browser crashes, but let's see. Just a minute. I will show you the service accounts. Okay, so I hope you guys are able to see my browser now. Okay, so over here we have different service accounts, right? The one which we are more interested in is this one. So this specific service account has a permission. Let's see. No, I have to go to IAM. Okay, no worries. So let me zoom in. So over here, this specific service account, right, Docker cloud build has a role attached to it, which is cloud build service account, right? Now we should also have a much higher privileged service account. In our case, this is app engine cloud build SA. If it's a big GCP environment, you will find multiple service accounts, and in some cases you might even find like multiple service accounts for cloud build based upon like different use cases, right? So in our case, we have um, another service account which has permission like cloud build service account, normal one, and it also has a permission to deploy app engine, right? Kind of cheesy stuff. Now we will go back over here and let's see like what permission cloud build service account has. So cloud build service account, this is the one, right? Now, and this specific role has 66 different permission, right? um Again, it's too broad of permission, but one which is the most dangerous one is over here. It should be here. Where is this one? Cloud build builds create. So basically, this specific permission will let you create a cloud build trigger in GCP. So this is a bad permission, and again, uh, I think I've said this thing multiple times. At least in GCP, never ever use default roles. Always create your own custom roles. But this is only like necessary permission needed to make the job done. So in our case, let's say we can create a custom role, right? We can only attach permissions necessary to like perform a Docker build, right, and push it to artifact registry. Like this specific permission is like completely like useless and should not be here, right? But we as an attacker or red teamers, we can exploit it, and we will create a trigger, a cloud build trigger, and we will attach a different service account, right? So now I also want to show you a few more things. So let's see. Now I have this is like CSR, like cloud source repo. Like Google has killed the specific service, but it's still available for few customers, right? By the way, like this attack is not fully dependent on CSR, which is cloud source repo. In your case, it could be any, like literally any source repo. It could be GitHub, could be uh, Bitbucket, Gitbucket, whatever, right? GitLabs, whatever. So in our case, we have a Git repo called Docker image CI/CD, right? And we have right access to it. Now, we as an attacker, what we can do is we have a normal thing and we have a cloud build.yaml file, right? Now we as an attacker, what we can do is we can modify cloud build.yaml file and include a step which will get the service account token of our cloud build and send it to our webhook, right? So before we do that, I just want to show you this article. So I made this blog post about 2 months ago for the place where I work. Over here I will simply like copy this, right? Because why not? I'll copy this. Oh my god, if I can copy it. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I can copy it. Now basically like what this will do, let me open a notepad. So basically like this is a normal cloud will. Okay, let me explain it in a different way. So over here, like this is part of a malicious cloud build.yaml file, right? And this like basically like it has a instruction which will use Ubuntu as a base image, and it will get a shell, right, bash, and it will execute all these commands. Over here we have this, right? So it will make a request or a call to Google's or metadata server of GCP, and it will get the service account email attached to that specific cloud build trigger. Next, we have another command, right? Okay, so this is for a different one. Yeah, this is for extracting the email, right? So this one will get the email and it will send it to our Discord webhook, right? Now this is the one for stealing the token, right? So we can make a request to Google metadata server, get the access token, and send it to our webhook, right? As easy as that, you know. Now what we will do is we need to go and create a cloud build.yaml file, right? So let's go and do that. I will copy it. Now come back over here. Let's see what we have to change, guys. So this is cool. Let me zoom in. Can I zoom in? No, I can't zoom in. Wow, this is bad. I hope the text is clear. If not, I don't know how to fix it. Alrighty. So yeah, this is all we need. You can replace the specific path with your own Docker or Discord webhook, right? I will go and create a webhook real quick. Alrighty, so like I have created a webhook, right? Now I will add the URL over here. Okay, now we can modify the source repo, right? So what I will do is zoom in. Okay, so this should be visible now. So I have already like cloned the repo, right? So all you need to the only permission you need to perform this attack is write access to a source repo which is connected to cloudbuild. I think I have said that multiple times. Now I will use SUBL. Yeah, I'm gonna use SUBL. I'm not pro who can use Vim, right? No, just kidding. Cloudbuild. Okay, so I'm gonna do the sad part, which is deleting the entire thing. Again, if you are going to do this thing on an actual project, try to be like bit sneaky, right? Don't delete the entire thing. By the way, like one more thing for defenders, if you are trying to detect this attack, this whole thing will appear on cloud logs, so that's good for you. Like you can see the whole where exactly the tokens are being sent. You can see the Discord webhook URL. So yeah, it's not a blind spot, it can be detected, by the way. So we will save it. Yeah, we'll save it now. Do I need to change any other thing? Yeah, I should change this part, or maybe not, I don't know. Let's hope this one works. Now I will make git add git commit item repound. Yeah, now we can push it. Git push origin -u master, and let's see. Okay, so it's working. Something is working, right? Now let's go back to Google Cloud. Again, my tab has crashed. Well, I will stop using this problem now. So let's check cloudbuild. Let's see, like, do we have any errors or not? Cloudbuild. We should also check. Okay, so we can check Discord, right? So we have received an OAuth token of service account attached to the specific cloudbuild trigger, which is Docker trigger, right? So we have this specific service account attached. This one, Docker cloudbuild, right? By the way, like, let's say if you don't attach any service account, GCP will by default use, let's say if you have not attached any service account, right? So let me give a quick demo of that too. So create trigger this, right? And let's see, this is to be the repo, right? Let's say like if we don't attach any service account, GCP will use the default service account for GCP will use its default service account, which is even bad, right? So over here you can configure your own cloudbuild service account, the default one. I will not recommend you guys to use this one. I mean, from a from security perspective, this is a nightmare. But yeah, that's another feature of GCP, by the way. So yeah, so we were able to steal the token, right? But this is not the fun part, by the way, right? We are just getting started. This is something which a script kiddie can do, right? We are pro hackers, right? So we're gonna do pro hacker stuff now. So I will copy the token, right? Now there's we can use something like this. Let me clear this cd I have the cd into temp directory, nano token, and I can do something like this: g cloud config, or let me check my blog post. Like, there's a way we can use the token to interact using G Cloud CLI. Okay, so I don't have one over here. Just a sec, let me get the command. Alrighty, so there's an article from Hacktricks, right, which has a command mentioned over here. So we can use this one, right? So we can do something like this, right? And yeah, G Cloud config set art access token file, in our case token. We were able to update a token, but we are just getting started. So next part which we will do is I will just copy paste the command, the one I have made over here. So I will just copy paste this, right? But before that, let's see what exactly it's doing. So I hope you guys are able to see it. So basically, like, it will create a malicious cloud build trigger, right? So over here we have the name given malicious cloud build trigger. The repo is grc disk. We don't need that repo, by the way. Again, we can change the entire code, right? Just a sec. We can change this source repo to some other source repo in another source repo name, right? We have cloudbuild.yaml file, we have this and service account name. So I will start by changing the service account. So if you remember, we have another service account in GCP, right? In our GCP, or at least in our scenario. Oh wow, this video is going too long, man. Nobody will watch it. Shit. So this is the service account, right? So I will copy this real quick. So let me go back, add it up here. So we have app engine cloud build SA, right? Malicious this. Now what we can do is, again, in our scenario we have write access to source repo. In your case you can have write access to only one repo, but in our case we have write access to like any source repo. If you have write access to like only one single source repo, you can modify that, right? You can create different branches and make changes accordingly, right? But in our case I will use this specific service account I have made for the scenario. By the way, I haven't tested if the code works or not. So yeah, I had this specific source repo app engine, right? So let's go and test it out, fam. But before that, I need to do one basic thing. So since this is a very new, like, good GitHub GCP project, I have to go and enable some APIs, right? By the way, like, if you are going to perform the specific attack on an actual organization, you probably don't need to do it, right? I mean, if they're using App Engine, they probably have App Engine API enabled or some other services. So let me do App Engine, and I will also create one more like default service. So our build works. Again, this will not um this will not affect our attack itself, right? So API identity to the, I will go with default service account. You should never do that, right? Let's wait for a minute or two for let this application get created. We will wait a minute or two for this application to get created. We will modify the project name, which will be YT video 6969, right? And we will change the repo name. to app engine. We'll change the repo name to app engine, engine. I hope I was able to spell that correctly. Yeah, I don't think we need to do any other stuff, so let me run that command. Fingers crossed, hopefully it works. Let's see. Okay, so we got an error saying request contains an invalid argument. Cloud source repository invalid argument. Huh, what exactly is an invalid argument made? Oh wow, so this one took a while, right? So the error was we were missing a critical, we were missing a permission in GCP, right? So by the way, like, this again does not affect our attack. I forgot to attach one permission which was necessary to create uh, our malicious cloud build token. So let me get back to the screen now. So basically, like, in GCP, if you have any work experience with GCP, you will see that you need to attach service account user permission to a service account which needs to impersonate a different service account, right? So that was one key permission which I forgot to add. Again, does not affect our attack chain, right? So over here, what I have done is I have created our malicious cloud build trigger, right? And I have attached app engine cloud build essay, right? This specific service account has permission like normal permission, like cloud build service account permission, and it also has one different permission which allows you to deploy app on app engine, right? So now what we will do is we will get to some naughty stuff, right? So over here I will come back to app engine essay, and we have get the pure. This is our normal code. Now we will do some naughty shenanigans. So I had cloud, I was trying to debug it, but anyways, now I will get the code for our app engine. Just a minute, let me just copy paste the code. For real. Okay, I was able to copy the code. Now I will rm app.pure nano app.pure, right? Okay, kaboom, baby. From flask response. Okay, so this basically, like, this code, what this code will do is it will make requests to like metadata endpoint from GCP. It will get the email and service account token, and it will display it. Let me just obfuscate this, right? So yeah, I will control C. Now we have to modify. By the way, we just need to steal the OAuth token for our privileged service account, right? So we don't really need this code to work for now, so I will just modify this. Let me open a CBL because I'm noob. Sublime will open. Well, I have so many things. Okay, I will save it. Now let's see. Save it, cat. Okay, now I will run the command again, which will be git add git commit git commit repo your. Of course, an attacker will never send a message like this. Git push origin issue master. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, um, attack should work. Okay, so yeah, I got it. So why it did not work is, if you remember, I ran a command which through which I was authenticated as the service account, cloud build service account one, right? The one Docker one. Now I have to remove that. So let me do it. Okay. Now we should be able to push the changes to the repo. Now, hopefully, this will trigger the cloud build trigger, and we should receive a new message. So we will wait for some times. Let's see. Okay, okay, so we got a lot of tokens, mate. Okay, no worries. And why exactly we got these many tokens, I have no idea. But now what we will do is we will rm token the file where we had token for our previous, like the service account for Docker cloud build. I will remove that and I will add the service account token of this app engine cloud build, right? And I will authenticate to that token. Now I will run gcloud app deploy. Hopefully, like, it will deploy our app engine, our code on app engine. Let's see. Again, fingers crossed. Hopefully it will work. Fingers crossed. And by the way, like, you can go and make changes to like app.yaml file, and let me show you that too. So cat app.yaml. Over here we can add like service account, and we can provide which service account we want to which service account we need token for, right? So we can get the token for like normal compute engine service account. We can get a token service account token for any other user or service account, probably not a user, but some other service account. So this is taking some time. It will take a minute or two, but again, fingers crossed. Hopefully we don't get any errors and it works like magic, you know. So, like, apologies, right? I made some mistake in my code. So what I did was I went back to the blog which I created for Boon Labs, the place where I work, and I copied the code, Python code over which I mentioned over there, right? So this is the Python code. Again, this will help you or let you execute command on the server, right? On, or I should say, on the app engine, and you can use this to like make a request to like backend or metadata server of Google and get the token, right? So what I did was I ran gcloud app deploy, right? We can ignore this error for now, but again, like in a more realistic scenario, you probably will not get this error, right? But we are getting this error, we can ignore it, right? uh, in an actual production environment, you probably will find a much broader permission, but in our case we will get the error. But what we can do is we can use gcloud app version list. We can get the version id, right? And we can interact with the specific version of app engine directly, right? So over here you can visit something like this. Now if we read the code, if we read our code, right, we can see there's a parameter, there's an endpoint called get access token, right? We are prompted for the username and the password. So I will just copy the password, my username. Again, make sure to change it, right? Huh. There's an error in the application. Okay. and then we have to provide this curl command, a parameter called curl command equals to id. Let's see. Okay, so we can execute command like this, right? Now we have to make a curl request to um, the server, right? So let's do this. I will make a curl request curl to the specific metadata endpoint, and and okay, so if you don't know, we are required to provide a header, so we can do like this, something like this. Let's see. uh, Metadata flavor has to be Google flavor Google, like this. Let's see. Yep. So so you can see, right? So we were able to put a different service account, right, which is attached to our app engine. By the way, we can attach any service account to our app engine, or the service, right, to any service. So in our case, this specific service account has editor permission in GCP, right? If you don't know what editor permission is in GCP, you should skip this video, right? You should stop watching the video. But in GCP, editor permission, any user or service account with editor permission can basically do anything, like literally anything, right? So let's do a quick recap, right? um let's do a quick recap real quick. So I want to do a quick recap, right? So what we did, so we started as a low privileged user over here, and this specific user had only one permission, which was write permissions to a source repo. It could be a developer account, right? It did not had any other permission, right? Matter of fact, you don't even need any permission in GCP itself, right? Let's say you are using some other Git service provider like GitHub, right? You don't need any permission in GCP, right, to perform this attack. But in our scenario, we are strictly like GCP, right? So over here, this specific user had a write permission to this specific service repo or source repo, right? Us being an attacker or hackers, we were able to create a malicious cloudbuild.yaml file which had a code which would extract the service account token, the OAuth token attached to the specific cloud build, right? And it will exfiltrate to our webhook, right? To us. But again, this is not the bad part, right? This is not the bad part. This is not the fun part. The fun part will start from over here. So a lot of time, you will see people using default roles. At least in GCP, using default role is a security nightmare, because it will often have a bigger or a broader range of permissions, you can say, right? So in our case, the default service account, which is cloud build service account, has a permission which allows you to create another cloud build trigger, right? So it will allow you to create another trigger, right? Now what you will do is we will abuse that specific permission, and we will create another cloud build trigger, and we will attach more privileged service account to it. So if a lot of time, right, in a bigger GCP environment, or even in a medium scale or small scale GCP environment, you will find multiple service account. And if that organization is like all into GCP, you might even find multiple service accounts for cloud build, right? So in our case, we had permission, which we had a service account which had the normal like cloud build service account role attached to it, and it also had a permission called app engine attached to it, right? So what we did, we created a cloud build service cloud build trigger, and then we used the same technique as earlier, and we were able to steal the OAuth token of this service of this specific cloud build trigger, right? Now, this is the fun part, guys. We were able to steal the OAuth token of the specific cloud build service account, and since we had a permission to deploy an app engine on GCP, we were able to deploy uh, our backdoor on app engine, right? And we were also able to attach another service account in GCP which had much higher privileges, right? In our case, we were able to attach the default service account to our app engine, which has editor permission in GCP. By the way, you don't even need to attach like default service account to it, right? You can attach basically any service account in GCP project, right? So basically using this technique, we can pool the entire GCP project, which is crazy, right? It shows you, right, how important it is to like go with low privileges, least privileges possible kind of a concept. Some like security tips would be like for the defenders. You should always use like custom service account roles, right? So in our case, we don't need cloud build create trigger permissions, right? We can remove that. We can only specify necessary permissions required to perform a specific task. The other one will be like this attack is kind of noisy, right? So you can see the entire logs in Google Cloud Logs. So you can there's a higher chance that you will be able to detect this, right? And maybe possibly stop it if you are looking at your cloud logs, right? But yeah, this is it.